Hello, hello, hello. Another another live stream is upon us. Another practice session. Time to get good at this art stuff. Got a nice reference that you're more than likely to hop along, get going with me. I'm using some graphite today, just simple pencils, newsprint paper, just as usual. And yeah, ooh, hopefully you can't hear that. That was a cable. Most likely everything's organized the way it should be. The right mic's being used. The webcam is on. We can see everything. No interruptions. Got tea as well. Grab yourself a beverage for this, because we want to take our time with this. So, let's go. This one's a bit scary. I don't know why. Let's see if we can do a good job of it. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you had a good Sunday. I'm only just now getting around to actually drawing something today, which isn't perfect. I wish I would have had some time earlier, but you know how things are. So, to understand what we're creating here, I'm going to be using a little bit of the Loomis method. So, with that, I'm going to be placing the eyebrow line just around here. I can see that what's happening with the reference and her head is slightly tilted downwards. So naturally, I'm grabbing this and building it around like that. The angle, that's what I meant. Sorry, I got distracted there. I've got a kneadable eraser on hand, just in case. This one's getting a little bit dirty, but great thing about a kneadable eraser is you can grab it and you can knead it, and then when you knead it, it cleans it up. So if you can see it on camera here, if you knead this stuff just like that, it starts to clean up a little bit. See, the only issue is when you unfortunately do this way too many times, or if you use materials such as charcoal, this is going to get dirty really quickly. But we have another one on hand just in case, whenever that does happen. So I'm gonna oh, we're back. I don't know what just happened. Like everything just crashed. Apparently we can't get things going the way it should be. Give me a second. Just gonna go over to this and I'm gonna try and sort out my Elgato because that seemed to have died. Maybe I jinxed it by saying that everything's fine and everything's set up. Okay. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're okay. Let me know. Because now I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, that just completely died. And I'm guessing it's gonna do a separate live stream for it. No? Okay, good. Good. I think we're okay. Big Hawaiian vibes. Sorry about that. Let me get my 2H pencil and we'll just get right back to it. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. So, this here, all good. Oh, lovely. Thank you, my lovely woman. Looking out for the stream. this here, so this line that we're generating here is the eyebrow line. That's what it's for. So therefore we must keep in mind that this is exactly where our eyebrows will lay. And I'm kind of just creating like some skiing goggles here to help myself get this in order and understand where my eyes are actually going to go. So hopefully that's looking okay. I'm using a 2H pencil just so we can really get the lighter outlines in straight away. And then the cheek is pretty rounded around here. And the nose is going to be leading just under here. So somewhere around here is where the nose should technically be. I'm starting to wonder, maybe this should be a little bit larger, so I'm going to push this back. I'm trying to add a little bit more thought into this rather than just throwing stuff on the page instantly, trying to understand why it is that I'm trying to do something here, or why it is that I'm deciding to place a line where I'm deciding to place it, just so that I start to understand within that process. I start to understand what actually makes a good drawing and what makes a good sketch, what makes a good painting. It's all part. Whoa, that's a showdown down there with the dogs. Just trying to build a complete understanding. Now, with a nice thing with this reference is our neckline is exactly in line with the middle of our face. So we can use that instantly as a guideline. Which is awesome. Okay, let's try and build out the nose just a little bit. I'm gonna switch to an HB in a moment because this line is definitely too light, but it's good for just establishing a base to where we're going with everything. Okay. So this line here pretty much goes directly to the edge of my eye. So I'm gonna start putting in just like that. And then looking at the reference, this one, eye just up here. So we're roughly just gently putting this information onto the page, canvas, whatever you want to call it. Don't worry too much about adding in detail yet. So we're simply at the beginning stage of everything. This is the stage where we figure stuff out. Hopefully I'm figuring it out well. That's the more important part. Oh, sorry for the wobble. Calm down there. All right. Move this up a little bit. So I want to start placing in some of the hair, just so I know where information is and where I need it, where I don't need it. So over here by the forehead is gonna have a tiny line of hair. Kind of just placing all of that in, and I'm trying to take the hair and break it down into singular points, almost, or shapes, I mean, rather than focusing on this as an entirely massive thing. the hair, because it's quite a complex topic in itself. I'm just trying to break it down into these more manageable shapes. And with that, I'll get a larger understanding for what I'm building here with these strokes of a pencil. And as we can see from the reference, her hair is quite widely out towards the left. So it's very much taken up majority of the space back here. So I'm not going to be too accurate with it. Just here to put in the information. I'm not as good enough yet to completely just put in this stuff without having to place any guidelines, but that is something I'm working towards. I have to round this out a little bit more. Grab that kneadable eraser, take out the parts we don't want to be messing up this entire thing. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my HB pencil. Got a little bit of a shorter nib there, but it should be okay. The lips are difficult. Lips are always hard to draw. But I'm attempting to just see it by shape. I'm gonna forget about that part for now. And notice the lips are almost going like this. So there's almost like a line connecting from here to here. And then the lips, which more or less come from the corners of the eyes. Cool, then we're gonna go down here and then outwards again and then inwards, creating a wave. Gonna give the wave a little bit more oomph on this side. Okay, I'm gonna delete the lines here because they're making her look very old. Because they almost look like wrinkles. Sometimes it seems the more I do these, the harder it gets. It's an interesting dilemma. Actually, I'm gonna switch over to this pencil here. I've got an F hardness pencil, just so we can get a little bit more precision going for this. I'm still attempting to do an overhand grip with the pencil. I feel like it will grant me more freedom. But I do not want to make lines that are too harsh. That's something I'm definitely trying to avoid. So something like that was a little bit too harsh. Try and do a softer, gentler line. Just like that. Because we don't want to make anything too pronounced yet. I've got to mute the Discord. Let me just do that for now. And we'll go back to the eyes for a moment. I am kind of just jumping around the whole scene. I'm not taking an area that's too... I'm not getting attached to any specific area. Just kind of filling out as I go along. I'm going to attempt to get the eye right here. Oh, see, this one I want to avoid. Definitely want to avoid that darker line. Just want to be gentle for now. And this is the reason I'm kind of paying attention to this as much as possible right now is just because I want to get it in my head that I don't want to be making these harsh marks. If it's your style, if that's what you're going for, then go for it. But I don't want to do that right now. I want to be very gentle with this. I'm gonna have to move this up just so it looks more like as if she's actually looking in my direction. Technically, she is looking directly at the camera. More around here. Helps to sit up straight. That's always a good rule of thumb for anything we're doing. Just sit up straight and attempt your best to look at what you're doing in the best light. I'm gonna get a little bit of a better angle here for you guys, so give me a second. Let me just make sure I'm doing that. I'm gonna try and, just so you guys don't have to worry about the whole wobbly stuff. I should have done this from the beginning. It's not always the easiest thing to adjust this. Hopefully this will actually be a better representation of what I can see. Just nail that down. All right, let's see how you guys feel about this one. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Still not perfect, but yeah, there we go. I think that's a tiny bit better. We actually have a lot of information with this image. There's no like extremely harsh shadows happening anywhere. Oh, don't want to be touching that. No harsh shadows, so we're gonna try our best not to be harsh. Technically, this eye should have been a little bit further up here, so let's see if moving the nose will help out at all. And then I'll lighten out this line here. And what we have here as well is a much smoother transition into the cheek rather than these very harsh angles that I've tried to create. I think that will help us out a little better. Make us look slightly nicer. Okay. Don't want to be making too many lines. The attempt is to create a nice smooth drawing, clean drawing. It's much cleaner than the previous ones I was doing. Cool. I think that's more like what I want. Are we looking maybe a little bit further out? And what I'm actually I'm trying to do something I don't usually do with my drawings or sketches. I'm trying to be a little bit more picky. Because usually I brush it off. I say, hey, this is a good sketch. This is good enough. And then it stays like that. It stays good enough. But I'm now trying to get in there a little bit more and understand why something needs changing and why this needs to happen. Okay. So we've got a harsher shadow happening here, which I'm going to try and outline. See, for shadow lines like this, I actually prefer a more traditional pencil. It just gives me a better control over something like that. And then this shadow goes directly to the edge of that lip there. Cool. I like the way that's gone. I was happy with the pencil control there. That's not usually something that goes perfect. So kind of glad about that. That went well. Building out this line here as well. Just trying to make a lead a little bit smaller so it doesn't break. And I'm building shapes now. That's really all I'm doing. I'm building out the shapes that I see on the drawing and deciding some of these look like much harsher angles, so I'm gonna try and make them harsher, and the other ones don't, so that's where I try to soften it up a little bit. There's a little bit of a shadow going on here. It's fairly soft, but there's a bit of a defined line here. So that's what I'm gonna attempt to do. And that goes directly into the nostril, which gets connected here. Being a little bit more precise here, and I think it's kind of paying off a little bit at least. So that's I found recently started using F hardness lead on my mechanical pencils, and I think it's the perfect middle line between softness and the lead's not breaking. This is more in terms of writing, because I use a mechanical pencil for writing often. This is my writing mechanical pencil. It has some F lead in it, and I'm very happy with the way it's been working recently. So trying it out with this drawing, and I'm actually quite happy with the way it's going so far. This is going to need to be much darker. So I'm going to be doing something that I don't usually do, and that's using the hardness and softness of different pencils to create varying lines. I never used to do that, believe it or not. I just used to be like, oh, I like the way this pencil writes, so I'm going to use that one. But it's very nice and important to be using these different hardnesses for different things. And 2B is a very good one for getting nice midtones, I think. can even go pretty dark with it. But you don't want to be pushing a lead too hard, because that way you're going to lead to that very shiny effect. So, for example, if I really want to be getting a darker tone, I'm going to use something like a 4B, maybe even softer than that. I've got a 4B lead holder here, which I'm going to pull out for the darker shadows afterwards. Now, I've definitely lost some definition here, which I could get away with if this was darker, but it's not. This is quite a light image, so I want to bring some information back. I do not want to lose it. I think it's important that we have this information, just because the reference itself shows it to us. So there's no guessing that needs to be done here. This is right here where I need it, but it is in a dark area, so naturally we're going to take it off a little bit because it's in shadow, so we're gonna have to shade it in. And we can allow for some information to be lost this way, but we've got to remember ultimately that there's still stuff here. If we go like really dark, then we can sort of get away with getting rid of some information, because it's going to lead nicely into a style, it's going to lead nicely into the drawing as it is, but if it's there, it should be there. Get some drawing, some hair happening here. Gonna be a little bit rougher with the hair. Got a more defined edge here, so I'm gonna try and define it as well using the pencil. And let's go into the lips again, define those a little bit. And we've got that nice line being created from the lips, which we want to keep in. And we can tell that there's a darker tone happening in the lips over here, which also may need a slight adjustment to about here. That might give us a better effect. Let me make the kneadable eraser a bit thinner, so I can come in here and adjust what I need to adjust. That should look, see, that tiny change I feel like has made a massive difference. And that's where the looking into details and telling yourself, no, this isn't good enough, this needs altering, that's where that comes in pretty handy. So you can see I'm constantly switching between these pencils. It's completely okay to do that. You want to be getting a variation in your lines. And you want to be getting a variation, color, everything. Let me outline this shadow here. We want our values to pop in the end. That's what we're trying to do. Especially when we're working on a little bit more of a realistic style, just like I am recently. I'm trying to learn that a lot more. Just gonna start filling in some shadow here. This is a very soft gradation, so I don't know if I'm gonna fully, I might add a bit of shape here, obviously to indicate where it might end. But it's very gradual, so I don't want to be showing it off too much. I can use my finger to sort of rub it out a little bit. That's your choice, really. Using your finger mixes the oils from them more into your drawing, and that's when you start to get like a very shiny graphite effect. If you want to avoid that, I don't know if I have it here. Oh yeah, I do. If you want to avoid that sort of shininess that you get with smudging, sorry, I'm just gonna Now, if you want to avoid the smudginess, you can buy yourself one of these. I don't know what they're actually called. I think it's literally just called a smudging tool. You can get those, or you can use some cotton buds. Those are just fine as well. Let's see how the eye is going. Up here we've got a bit more information. That comes down. Let's see, again, I'm making the line a little bit too harsh. Don't want to be going that harsh. I'm gonna try and use the softer end of this lead that I've already been using slightly. Got like a little shape happening here. And then we got more of the eyeball here. You can see the definition from it, but very gently. Again, I'm really attempting to just add hints more than just actual lines. That gives me a much better effect in the end. And then we're gonna have the eyebrows kind of starting to appear here. And the eyebrow blends in with the hair, so less work for us. Oh, it's coming out okay. I think this is one of my better ones recently. So far. Don't want to say too much because I might end up ruining it. Gonna rub out some of this information. We're just gonna come in here with some darker lines. Try and attempt to make these lines using the side of my pencil. That's gonna hopefully give this a better effect. Much smoother. Don't want to be making them too harsh, which these kind of already are, but they are quite dark and prominent on the reference, so I'm kind of gonna get away with that. Some very light shading over here on that part. That's way too dark. Smudging it helped a little bit. Add that. And then let's do a little bit of the eyebrows. I'm not so good with our eyebrows yet. Still kind of learning the understanding how I should be putting them down, but I think that came out a little better than it came out okay. That's what I wanted to say. So, got a very faint sort of triangle happening here. Trying to see shapes where they're very hard to see. That's kind of what I'm attempting to do with a lot of this stuff. Because a lot of these areas, they do have these shapes, but you almost have to kind of squint. And squinting actually helps. I forgot about that. There's this shape here, which you don't really see if you don't squint. But if you look just over here, there's like all this strange croissant going on over here. If you squint whilst looking at the reference, you'll start to see it. I also understand that I've kind of made this a little wrong, so I'm gonna attempt to fix that. This should be a little bit up like that, and then that comes down here. We get this line forming gently. What's the time? 10:02. Oh, taking our sweet time with this one, aren't we? And then we go up much higher than I was before. And then we start building out this shape. So pretty high up. And then I'm going to smudge it to really soften it. What's up, my guy? How you doing? Sob. And then I'm building some more of the shadows here. They're very delicate, but they're there, and that's what really makes the difference with these drawings. How did your fight go, by the way, man? That's chilling. Good, man. Good to hear. It is a Sunday after all. So it was a fairly chill day today. Oh, thank you, thank you. I have. I have. I've been trying my best to put in a lot more hours to this, and been attempting to get a little bit better at the realism stuff. You got it, my guy. That's it. Love to hear it. That's it. Good stuff. Yeah, I appreciate you noticing, man. I have actually been attempting to put in a lot more time to the craft that's been following my life. So yeah, it's been a intentional goal to get better and to kind of document the process, of course. So I've been trying to put it on YouTube as much as possible. Most of the time when I'm not even practicing much when I'm not on here doing it, which has to change as well. I do have to get a little bit more active. But I'm glad you noticed. Thanks, man. Improvement mega. That's what we're doing. I'm attempting to go into more traditional routes for learning rather than drawing anime all the time or something. If I want to get good at drawing anime, I have to get good at drawing real people first, like actual from reality life drawing, all that stuff. That's my thought process behind it at the moment, and I'm currently kind of studying, not fully under. I will hopefully eventually. I do want to invest in the course, but there's a guy called Jeffrey Watts. He has an atelier, and he follows like traditional method a traditional method of learning how to draw, and it is more for painting as well, because I really want to get into oil painting properly. But he mentions it's very important that we need to understand drawing first as well. So his classes are like a 70% drawing and a 30% painting course. So I'm attempting to get really good at drawing first, and then I'll start moving on to painting. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been good so far though. It's also nice because you always know what you can go ahead and sketch, and you always know what you should be doing. Because if you're like constantly trying to draw new characters and develop all that stuff, that actually you have to think a lot. You're like, oh, what should I do now? What should I be doing now? And what should I be practicing? But with this, it's like, oh yeah, you can practice your portraits, or you can practice figure drawing. That's it. You go for those and you keep going. So it's been also pretty good for that, because I can just go on Pinterest, get a nice reference, and then get going with it. Which do want to go to some actual live drawing classes, because those will be, it's nothing better than drawing a live model apparently. That's literally the best way to learn. It's from what I hear. I've only had the pleasure of having one of those live classes, which was during Viners actually. So we were able to have one of those, which was probably the best thing that happened in art, because it was like an actual experience of what an art class should be. I hear that people basically, if you do art as a uni course, you get more of that sort of experience, that thing. But with secondary school and sixth form art classes, it's just like, hey, go do these paintings, keep painting and keep exploring in your sketchbook, and that's about it. That's where it kind of stops. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It looks a lot darker on camera than it does on my screen. Oh, well, on my screen, on my eyes. I appreciate the kind words though, Josh. Really, thank you. I'm trying to get real good so I can start drawing Dark Souls characters more. Yeah, yeah. No, see, that's that's what it should have been. Although I obviously did industrial design at uni, so I didn't have too much drawing, to be honest. There was the first year was maybe quite more focused. Oh, that's good. That's good. For me, the best thing about uni for me is I figured out I want to do something else, I guess. Um, but it was important. It was I guess I needed that to find out that this is what more the path I need to take and more the path I want to do. But I'm gonna just do a little bit more broad. But I really think, hot topic a little bit, but uni is extremely overrated nowadays. For me, it was great, but no, it was, I don't know. It was an interesting experience to say the least. I definitely feel like coming out of uni, I've learned so much more because I've wanted to do that. You know, I've wanted to learn a lot of these things. Um, for, and I'm not just talking about art or design or anything. I'm talking about general, like, got more into books, started reading more. Ultimately, the best way to learn is to read books from people. It's a portal to that person's mind. They took their time to create a book and write down all their feelings. Ah, look at that. They removed your course. Yeah, well, in my one, I wanted to do graphic design and they ended up removing it the year I wanted to do it. So yeah, that's also fun, isn't it? And it happened in the final year. So, but yeah, a book is a direct portal to someone else's mind. And if you buy a book from someone who's succeeded in what you're trying to do, then I mean, what better way to learn than to listen to that and to take it in and learn from it? You know, you're literally learning from the best. I've got a book that you would probably love. Hold on, where my Kindle? I haven't read it yet. I'm looking to read it soon. This is quite apparently a very important book to figuring stuff out in your life and really keeping to and working hard on the things that are important to you. It's Hagakure, Book of the Samurai. Maybe you've even read it. I bet you've read it, to be honest. But that's going to be my next read after I finish reading David Ogilvy's book on advertising. Kind of learning a little bit more about marketing and stuff, mainly for work, but for myself as well, because I think it's important knowledge I'd like to have in today's age. But after that, I'm moving on to Hagakure. There's another book I want to get called Fire in the Belly. It's another one I want to get. All about just like kind of finding your purpose, driving your purpose. Yep, that's it. That's the author. I wanted to pronounce his name, but I feel like I would have screwed it up. So glad you wrote that in there. That's definitely a book to check out. You've probably read it though. But like I said, it is next on my list. I've read Can't Hurt Me this year. That was a good book. I'd say probably the first half of it was a lot better than afterwards, but a lot of people said it was a repetitive book. I feel like the repetitiveness is intentional, because it's meant to nail it down into your head, like that whole concept of you're never putting out 100%. When you're at your limit, that's when you're like truly at just like 40% or something he mentioned. So he's kind of trying to nail that down. But yeah, it did get a little bit repetitive afterwards. But it was a good book. The concept in it is very important, and I think it should be followed. The fact that when you think you're at your limit, you're actually just like 40% of what you can actually achieve and do. It's all about mindset. That's the summary of that book is. It's all about your mindset. Not looking too bad. That came out pretty good. Let me get my 4B so that I can just properly come in here with some dark areas. There's only a couple that I really want to highlight and create contrast. And the most important ones are always the eyes, because that's where everyone's going to be looking first. But yeah, I do recommend that book if you haven't read it, Josh. Also, Way of the Superior Man is a really, really good book. Especially when it comes to the purpose side of it. The relationship side, I don't really pay attention to that too much. But the purpose-driven sort of area, that was more of my cup of tea there. Just checking which areas I can make a little bit darker, define them a little bit more. That's probably going to be the line of the lips here. I'm in precision mode now, so I'm not doing an underhand, I'm doing an overhand. Underhand, I guess I could do it if I train my precision with an underhand, then I'll be undefeatable. But baby steps. The one thing I'm glad about is that uni didn't cost as much as it does in America, in the UK, because that is, don't think I would have gone then. They have hefty prices, very hefty prices for education there. Okay. Just add a little bit more here. Maybe I'll try and transition this shadow a little bit, get rid of that harsh line that I've created by accident. Be a little bit more gentle. Overall, this is a darker area, so I'm gonna kind of go over it a little bit. Yeah. Definitely. I've also been reading up Goodbye Things. Goodbye Things by Fumio Sasaki. Hopefully I pronounced his name right. That's more of a minimalism book. I was reading it, and then I kind of got to a point where I was like, do I want to be a minimalist? Maybe not really, but I like some of the concepts in there. So the only kind of actionable steps that I took out of that book was to go ahead and organize like my digital stuff, make it a little bit more organized. I took all my photos off of my phone and put them on the thing. Yeah, minimalist one. Yeah, that's a good one. I believe you actually recommended that one to me. Yeah, so that helped out a little bit, but I kind of stopped reading it because I felt like I don't need this at this moment in my life. This is not what I'm focused on. And that's what you need to do with books. You know, if you're reading something and you get to a point where you feel like I've kind of got the information I need out of this at the moment, there could be more here, but maybe my time is worth utilized better on a book that's going to teach me about X, Y, and Z right now, because that's what I need to do. Like, my purpose right now is to be drawing art, so I should be reading up some art books or you know, stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. I remember you did mention it a while back. I do like the lines this pencil makes. They're very smooth. Kind of done with this sketch, to be honest. I feel like the more I add to it, the worse it'll actually become. So maybe it's time to start closing up shop on this one. Overall, it's turned out alright. It doesn't obviously look exactly like the reference, because it never does. But it's way closer to it than it would have been if I did this a month ago. Hopefully, anyone watching this back afterwards, you follow along, try and copy what I'm doing here. I definitely need to read up some art books as well. There's a book that I really, really want to get, but it's very expensive. It's The Basic Principles of Design. What's his name? Joseph? No, what was his name? God, I forgot. No, it's a rare book. It's out of print, and they go for like $250 on eBay. And putting that in zloty is a lot more. So yeah, it's a very expensive book. It's completely out of print, but I think it's probably worth more than that entire uni course I took. So yeah, in terms of books, that's on the top of my list. Let's have a look quickly at what we've done here. Actually, I forget, I can take this off because of wireless. There we go. So this is the effect. The effect of what we've done. I think it looks okay. It looks pretty decent. Hair isn't obviously as defined as maybe it should be. I've not really been focusing on hair too much recently. I don't know why. It just kind of isn't my focus at the moment. My focus is on getting the facial features correct, getting all of that basically to the T. I want to get it to the T so that when you look at the reference and you look at my picture, there's nothing different. It's just the exact same thing that you're looking at. Or well, at least a more stylized version of the exact same thing. But yeah, I want to be able to recreate resemblance with these. Maybe then afterwards I can start doing some oil paintings of people. But yeah, success with this one. Quite happy with it. I'm gonna do the usual thing. Quick tip to artists: hairspray afterwards. Spritz this bitch, like just real quick with it. And that's about it. That's about it. This was a good one. I appreciate you hopping in there, Josh. And I appreciate Dominica sitting in here, making sure the stream's going all good. Final product. Appreciate it, Josh. I will. That's the goal. That's what I'm working towards at the moment. Very nice. Thank you. I think if I keep doing this, give me about 2-3 months time and then we're looking pretty good. If I speed up, then give me a month. But I don't know if I'll be able to speed up at the moment. Appreciate it, man. I know you're always jumping in here. I love the support very much, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna end up the stream now. Anyone watching this back afterwards, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out the stream, checking out the video, and hopefully you follow along with the drawing. And if you do, join our Discord and share it. I'd love to see it. But yeah, appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next transmission.